Hey, what's happening gamers? It's Luke from GameZone, and our Final Fantasy XIII video guide series continues. Before I begin, this again is not a full-blown complete boss guide. Instead, what we did is we went and polled different members of the community to see which bosses gave players the most dread. So with that in mind, we begin. Boss number 9, and this guy has caused a lot of woe for people. Before we begin, there's actually an easier way to beat Ashtar, involving using Odin after causing the boss to stagger and using the Mega Crash on it, which will either kill it or take a decent chunk of its health away. But guess what? Old KW didn't do it the easy way. I like my games like I like my coffee. Hard, hot, and grainy. No, I'm just kidding. I don't even drink coffee. Anyway, what I did use was one of my shrouds before the fight, so my party was protected and had haste for about 5 minutes or so of the battle. Since I do my paradigm shifts faster than I can speak, I'll tell you the basics of what I used. I have Slash and Burn, Yin and Yang, Super Soldier, which is actually very important for this fight, Dual Casting, War and Peace, and Double Dose, which is both medics if you guys are a little bit confused. The key element of this fight is to use the turtle's weakness against him, so make sure you scan before the fight begins so you know what to do. Selecting Auto Chain is your best bet, and the Paradigm Dual Casting whenever possible. Super Soldier is important even if you used a Shroud because Hope can cast Protection, which again is important. Try to keep an eye on Light's health because if she dies, well, guess what? Game over. If Hope dies, just use a Phoenix down, no loss. When the turtle thing uses that blade attack, depending on how hard you're hit, use War and Peace, Yin and Yang, or Double Dose. Yin and Yang is actually good because one character will heal while the other one will use magical attacks. Now, how most gamers end up dying in this battle is near the end of the fight. This happens when the boss sends your character into the horizon and then smashes you into the ground Dragon Ball Z style. As soon as this happens, switch to Double Dose, and before you hit the ground, hopefully Hope will have healed you. If not, well, then game over. The rest of the fight is pretty easy if you just pay attention to the weaknesses and heal after 2 turns of attacking. So in layman's term, just rinse, lather, and repeat. Next up on our list is the Sky Tank, which is a Chapter 7 boss and boss number 13 if you're keeping count. This boss can go one of 2 ways, very easy or long and dragged out. What most people don't realize is the trick to owning this boss is to take out the turrets first and then focus your main assault on the sides of the tank. I just used the default paradigm setup if you guys are wondering because I used a Shroud for this fight and it went like clockwork. Solidarity increases your protection for your party, and Relentless Assault and Delta Attack are important for decreasing the amount of HP the ship has. All you need to be careful in this fight is when the ship starts firing missiles. Make sure you're using Discretion or Diversity because even if your party is being protected, it's always a wise idea to have a healer on hand, especially when the Sky Tank uses its special cannon attack. Alrighty, moving on to boss number 17, Barthandulas. Well, this boss actually makes a lot of people breathe heavily into a paper bag because he is one tough cookie. However, this guy isn't really that difficult, and with my selection of characters and paradigms, I'm gonna prove it. Now, your party can consist of either Light, Fang, or Shaz, but Barthandy can actually be beat without using Shrouds or Haste. Ooh. Although you can use those if you want to. Actually, for this fight, I used Light, Hope, and Fang for this battle. Okay, once the fight starts, switch to Tireless Charge. Have Light use the Blitz attack on the upside down heads as often as possible. Do not attack the head in the middle, at least not yet, until you've killed all the little ones first. Commando is actually best for this fight since the heads are immune to most magical attacks. Hope is best left as the healer for the remainder of this battle, and once you kill one side, move to the next side. Occasionally you'll need to switch to Discretion because magical attacks here are actually do a lot more damage than the other heads did previously. Eventually, the only head that remains is the one in the middle. Diversity and Relentless Assault work very well for this part of the fight, and when Chuckles here uses a Smile attack, just switch back to Tireless Charge or Discretion, and your healer should take care of your massive boo-boos. Another move to keep an eye on is Destructoid or Destructo or whatever it's called. This move takes a while to charge, but when he releases it, this attack hits everyone and does some serious damage to boot. When this happens, heal yourself and hope that you don't die. Just remember that this boss can also heal himself, so keep attacking him relentlessly. Just remember that patience is the key to this fight, and once you get his pattern down, then this form isn't as hard as he appears. Boss number 18, Cid reigns. And you thought the 5 heads were difficult. The best way to handle this fight is to have Vanille sabotage Cid whenever possible. This is also known as debuffing the enemy, by the way. Casting slow on Cid works very well, and when he isn't guarding, I'd advise using Try Disaster and Smart Bomb on him. When Cid is guarding, this means you go on the defense as well. Use Scouting Party, Mystic Tower, or whatever defensive maneuvers you have. Now, Snow most of the time will take most of Cid's attention away from your other characters, so meaning he'll take a brunt of the attacks. But actually, once Cid gets down to half his health, the fight is no longer easy. After it gets to this point, Cid grows wings and will perform a devastating ray attack. Quickly switch to Combat Clinic and start healing like a madman. Sephiric Ray does a tremendous amount of damage, but that is the least of your worries. Cid 2.0 can also cast haste and health much faster now. Plus, he can counterattack and debuff your party too. So be careful whom attacks Cid, because even with Snow taunting the enemy, Cid can still randomly go after Vanille or Light. When this happens, immediately switch to Combat Clinic during Cid's offensive onslaught, as it's more powerful. So if you don't switch to Combat Clinic before you get in the air, then you're gonna die, and this is how most people end up getting a game over. Just use common sense when fighting Cid and attack when he lowers his defenses, and when he's on the offense, defend. Boss number 22, whatever that weird dragon. Personally, I'm kind of shocked that this guy made the list to begin with. Then again, who am I to disagree with the community? Honestly, this boss is only difficult if you don't keep an eye on your HP. Attack him with Relentless Assault and eventually you'll cause him to stagger. Just keep hitting him when he's down, so to speak, and this boss only has 2 moves that are a pain in the butt. One is an instant KO that actually has a 50% chance of working, and his other move is a massive debuffing technique. Other than that, this boss isn't that difficult. What's cool is he's one of the few bosses that you can actually stagger very quickly too. So Relentless Assault away on that dragon thing and you should win the day. The last boss is of course the Proud Clad, and we'll talk about the rematch with him as well. So boss number 24 is Proud Clad from Chapter 12. Personally, this boss can merit a lot of anger, and this is due to all the annoying blaster attacks it has. Prudent planning is your greatest paradigm for this fight. As long as you have substantial protection, this battle is cake. The boss is easily staggered by using Try Disaster or Aggression. It's also very weak against lightning attacks and Odin. This fight mainly consists of keeping yourself on the defense and offense. The Proud Clad will go on the offensive and start attacking a lot with blaster fire, and when this happens, just switch to Combat Clinic and heal a lot. Personally, the rematch is actually the toughest battle that you'll fight, so let's walk you through that as quickly as possible. For round 2, equip a Shroud. You will want haste and protection right off the bat. Prudent planning helps take away the sting from those blaster cannons. Proud Clad 2 transforms from land to air combat. Just like before, the best way to beat him is causing him to stagger with Try Disaster while he's in the air. One thing I liked about these 2 fights is this boss doesn't really have a super move that can crack through your defenses, so this fight shouldn't take more than 11 minutes or so. Because once you have the pattern down, he's toast! Alrighty, that does it for our selective boss guide for Final Fantasy XIII, but don't worry, this series isn't on its last legs just yet. 2 videos still remain, the Summons Guide and GameZone's first official video review, which is Final Fantasy XIII by yours truly. Trust me, that is something that you won't want to miss. Let us know what you think about this latest video in the comment section below. Don't forget to check out more of our videos and our site for lots of amazing content that you will not find anywhere else. Well, my catchphrase as always is God bless and happy gaming. Thanks so much for watching, and until we meet again, gamers.